The Air Jordan 4, one of the most popular sneakers of 2022, even decades after the official release of the shoe, and weirdly enough, even though the Jordan 4 silhouette was probably Jordan Brand's most popular silhouette of the entire year, they only made 10 different ones, which is weird to me, and the only reason that I would think that they would do that is because they're trying to maintain the hype of the Air Jordan 4, which actually wouldn't surprise me at all, and it's what we've seen them do with shoes like the Air Jordan 1 2 or 3 years ago, back when the shoe was a lot more hyped up. The good news is though, even though we only got 10 different Air Jordan 4 silhouettes this entire year, a lot of them were bangers. So in today's video, I'm gonna count down the top 10 Air Jordan 4s of 2022. But first, this. It's almost Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
And most likely you're at that point where you're starting to stress about what gifts to get for your friends and family so they don't hate you when you show up with nothing at Christmas.
The fans are booing the move.
But the good news is I've got the answer for you, and that's a fresh set of Sole Premise bags. My Sole Premise bags are my go-to bags whenever I travel, and there's a lot of good reasons for that. 1, they're super high quality. 2, they're TSA approved, so you can bring them onto the airplane with you. But 3, it's because not only are they great at just carrying all your stuff, they're also specifically designed to hold your sneakers. For example, this brand new Sole Premise monogram bag right here, which first of all looks awesome, is actually specifically designed to not only just be a great looking backpack, but also very carefully and securely carry 2 pairs of sneakers in the front of the bag. Plus you've got a laptop sleeve in the back of the bag and a bunch of space in the middle for your clothes or whatever it is that you're bringing for your overnight trips or maybe even your flight to a different country. So whether you're grabbing gifts for your friends and family this holiday season or maybe even just yourself, which is not a problem at all, I definitely recommend checking out Sole Premise by clicking the link in the top of the description and use my code SETH for 50% off your entire order. It's an insane discount and you get these bags at a great price. But with all that being said, let's just dive right into it. At number 10 is the Air Jordan 4 Messy Room. Unfortunately, this shoe only comes in grade school sizing, so if you have a foot that's larger than a grade school size, you're out of luck. And I've got to say, the fact that this shoe doesn't come in men's sizing is definitely a bummer because the shoe itself is pretty clean. So according to Nike, this shoe is inspired, as the name would suggest, by a kid's messy room. And that's why you've got all the different panels and bright colors and textures on the shoe. Now what I find kind of interesting about this shoe is that it's seemingly inspired by the Union LA Air Jordan 1s. Obviously we've had a Union LA Air Jordan 4, which didn't have that same sort of split look that the ones have, but it seems like Jordan Brand just went ahead and did it on their own and created a split look Air Jordan 4, and honestly, it does work on this shoe. I kind of wish the Union LA collaboration had looked more like this. Colorway wise, this shoe pops because of the bright blue patent leather and suede on the upper of the shoe, as well as the yellow and red accents, and of course the white on the heel and on the midsole of the sneaker. And while yes, it does seem like Jordan Brand took heavy inspiration from the Union LA Air Jordan 1s, and I don't love that about this shoe, I still think overall it's a successful looking shoe, and for kids, this is definitely a must-have. Number 9 is the women's Air Jordan 4 Blank Canvas. So as the name of this shoe would suggest, this shoe comes in a white canvas upper, essentially to replicate a blank canvas, and in a lot of ways, I think Jordan Brand's idea behind this shoe is to have people customize it. And I actually really love this concept. I love the fact that the shoe looks good as an all-white Air Jordan 4, but you can also customize it, and they gave you a material that's very easy to customize in canvas. That being said, there are some downsides to canvas in that the shoe doesn't feel as premium as a standard leather Air Jordan 4, plus all-white canvas will stain very, very easily, and it'll be almost impossible to get the stains out. Also, for whatever reason, Jordan Brand decided to make this a women's only release, so guys with larger feet could not grab this shoe. While I don't think this is one of the best Air Jordan 4 releases of the year, I actually think it's pretty high up in the overall Air Jordan 4 tier list of Jordan 4s that have ever released. Actually, this year in general has been really solid for Air Jordan 4 releases, so if you're a 4 fan, 2022 was good to you. Number 8 is the Air Jordan 4 Zen Master. So while I'm not personally in love with the way that this sneaker looks, what really saves this sneaker for me is the actual story behind the shoe and the inspiration behind this concept. So this shoe was designed to pay tribute to Michael Jordan's famous coach, Phil Jackson, often known as the Zen Master. Apparently the reason for that is that he often incorporated different kinds of meditation and some Buddhist and spiritual traditions into his coaching, which I'm not sure exactly how that would work, but apparently it worked well because they won 6 championships. But the shoe comes in what seems to be sort of a purple, blue, and white tie-dyed upper, accented by black hits on both the midsole and on the tongue of the sneaker. And again, while I don't love the overall look of the shoe, it's definitely very wearable, and the story behind the shoe is pretty cool. Plus, I really like the semi-translucent details on the wings of the shoe. I think that was a nice touch. Number 7, the Air Jordan 4 Infrared. This shoe comes in a tonal gray upper that seemingly mimics the green glows from 2013. Now I'm not gonna lie, I've never had a pair of these in hand, but it looks like the upper of the shoe comes in like a sort of alright suede material, which I don't mind, but it's not gonna last very well in the rain. However, what really saves this shoe for me are the infrared accents. When paired with the gray upper of the sneaker, it's a pretty clean look. No, it's not an OG colorway, but it's definitely a very wearable Air Jordan 4 colorway that features some of the details and colors that you find in some of the more original Air Jordan 4s, and I think it's a very wearable sneaker, one that you can throw on with pretty much anything and rock. Plus, Plus, you guys know me, I love red, it's my favorite color, and while this infrared is not exactly the shade of red that I love, it's still a clean look and one that I would definitely consider rocking on a semi-regular basis. I don't care enough to actually buy the shoe, that's why I don't have a pair of them, but it's not a bad looking sneaker. But if it was my only option and I needed a new pair of shoes to rock, I wouldn't be mad at it. In fact, I'd be kind of stoked. Number 6, the Air Jordan 4 Red Thunder. You know what? I'm kind of sensing a trend in 2022, one that I didn't pick up on at the beginning of the year or even until now, but now that I'm looking at all of the sneakers that have dropped this year, it seems like Jordan Brand took a lot of their more popular colorways and created slight variations on them and then dropped them all in 2022, which again, I'm not mad at because they all look decent, but I didn't notice that till just now. It kind of bums me out a little bit. That said though, this Red Thunder colorway is very, very clean. It absolutely mimics the Thunders from a couple years ago that came in black and yellow, but it's still a very clean look, and plus you can't go wrong with black and red on a pair of Air Jordans. It's like Michael Jordan's colors. Now like I've mentioned, this shoe comes in a black suede upper accented by red hits on the midsole, on the wings, as well as underneath the mesh on the midfoot, which I don't love, but it is a nice hit regardless. And in my opinion, this shoe is kind of like the perfect middle ground between a very stealthy looking shoe and a shoe that pops. It really just depends on what kind of outfit you're wearing. If you're wearing all black, then the red will definitely pop, or I guess if you're wearing all red, the shoe will still definitely pop. But if you want it to be a more subtle look, you can absolutely dress it down because the majority of the sneaker is black and very easy to camouflage. I'm not gonna lie, it's a clean shoe, and honestly, I might even take it over the regular Thunders. I know that's crazy to say, but it's a nice look. Number 5, the women's Air Jordan 4 Canyon Purple. So this shoe had a ton of hype at the beginning of the year because it loosely resembles a pair of friends and family Travis Scott Air Jordan 4s. And while I definitely see that, and honestly I'm not even mad at that, I think it has sort of its own personality because of some of the hits that are not on the Travis Scotts. Like for example, the sort of army green midsole with black speckle print. So this shoe comes in a purple super hairy suede upper, which I actually think looks incredible. That purple suede is accented by the green hits that I already mentioned on the midsole and on the wings of the shoe. And of course you've got black accents and red accents to finish off the look. Now I know this shoe just released, and as of right now people are just not buying sneakers the way that they used to, but I felt like this was one of those colorways that was gonna fly off shelves. I was just in Foot Locker like 3 days ago and they had a bunch of different pairs of these sneakers. Maybe it's because they're women's only release and larger sizes were not available, but I still thought it was a shoe that a lot of people were gonna grab. But I really think even though this isn't one of the most hyped up Air Jordan 4 releases of the year, it's one of the best, and that's why I made it number 5 on the list, because it's genuinely a very cool looking, kind of different looking Air Jordan 4 that we've never seen before, and that's why I like it so much. Plus, I'm not gonna lie, that Muppet skin upper is fire. Number 4, the Air Jordan 4 Black Canvas. While this shoe has a very similar name to a shoe that we've already talked about on the list, the Blank Canvas, and while the concept of this shoe is similar, the overall aesthetic of the shoe is very different. Yes, the upper of this shoe is still canvas, but unlike the Blank Canvases, this shoe does not come in a white upper, so it can't really be customized. I mean, I guess it could be, but it's not exactly the same thing. However, I do have to say that aesthetically and wearability wise, this shoe is absolutely a better sneaker. I think this all black look is very, very clean, and while yes, even though the main material used on this shoe is canvas, the fact that it's black means that you can actually wear it and stain it and you won't ever see it. Plus, you can't really ever go wrong with a pair of black Air Jordan 4s, and because I used canvas on the upper instead of a leather, it's a very matte looking shoe, which I actually really like. In addition to the primarily black look of the shoe, you've got some gray hits on the midsole and on the eyelets of the sneaker, and of course the Jumpman comes in gray, which actually looks very clean. It's subtle, it's simple, it's clean, it's very wearable, it's definitely one of the best Air Jordan 4s to drop all year. Number 3, the Air Jordan 4 Midnight Navy. So again, this shoe is absolutely inspired by a previous Air Jordan 4 colorway, the white cement. However, this shoe does change some things up from that sneaker, as you probably would have guessed, and instead of having black accents, this shoe features midnight navy accents, which honestly are not that different from black, and if you missed out on the white cements, this is actually a great shoe to go with. However, even though this shoe does look a lot like the white cements, it does stand in its own merit. It's a good looking pair of sneakers. The white with the midnight navy really looks nice. It's got a nice contrast. I also love the midnight navy speckle print on the side of the shoe. I think it looks very clean, and honestly, the white tumbled leather used on this shoe is actually pretty decent. So even though you're paying over $200 for a pair of 4s, at least you're getting a semi-decent quality pair of 4s. Now I will say that the weakest part of this sneaker is the inspiration behind it, which really isn't that big of a deal, but still it's something to talk about. Jordan Brand says that this shoe is a fall take on the white cement 4s, which I think is really weak. Plus, like, blue is not really a fall color, it's more of a winter color. So I'm not sure exactly why they said that. I think they just needed someone to write up some copy about this shoe and that's what they went with. But again, it doesn't take away from the fact that this is a good looking sneaker, and while yes, I would rather have the white cement 4s, it still is a really great colorway, and I think the blue matches this shoe really well. Number 2, the Air Jordan 4 Military Black. Again, this shoe is another new take on a previous classic Air Jordan 4 colorway, and again, I'm not mad at it, I'm just letting you guys guys know, it's not a totally original colorway. So this shoe comes in a primarily white leather upper accented by light gray hits on the mudguard of the shoe, as well as some black accents throughout. And yes, it does look a lot like the military blues. The only real difference is switching blue for black. However, even though they only changed one color on this shoe, I feel like the difference between the military blacks and the military blues is a lot more noticeable than the difference between the white cements and the midnight navies. And I feel like because of that, it almost feels like a completely new colorway, and I guess in a way it is. Looking back over all of the Air Jordan 4s that have dropped in 2022, in my opinion, this is the coolest and probably most wearable. I think this is definitely a clean look, and I'm honestly kind of mad that I don't have a pair of these. I should grab one, but the price just keeps going up. For whatever reason, Jordan Brand doesn't give us a lot of like just white and black sneakers. They do every so often, but it's not that common. They give us a lot of black and red, which again is great, but we don't usually get just a plain black and white look. And this honestly, in my opinion, is one of the best black and white Jordans. And I mean, all you have to do is just look at the shoe and you understand why it's one of the most resold sneakers of the year and why people really want this shoe. It's wearable, it's very clean, and I'm pretty sure it was pretty widely available, so a lot of people had a chance to grab this shoe. This may be obvious, but if not for the #1 shoe on this list, this shoe would definitely be #1. And it's not because I think the #1 shoe is a better shoe overall, I just feel like that shoe just has a little bit more going on and it's a little bit different. This shoe is probably the most solid and most wearable shoe on the list, so I think for some people, this shoe might be #1. But I guess you guys will have to let me know in the comment section down below once we hear about #1. #1, the A Ma Maniere Air Jordan 4s. Am I crazy in thinking that this is the only collaboration Air Jordan 4 of the entire year? I think it is. We've had a bunch of collab Air Jordan 2s, we've had some collab Air Jordan 1s, and even Air Jordan 12s, but this is the only Air Jordan 4 that's dropped all year that's a collab, at least that I can think of. It's kind of nuts. Thank God it was a great collab. This shoe is incredible. So this shoe continues the classic James Whitner design aesthetic. You've got a very light sort of washed out purple on the upper, a sort of aged midsole, as well as a quilted sock liner. And I mean, when you look at this shoe compared to the other A Ma Maniere collaborations with Jordan Brand, this shoe absolutely fits in. And it's kind of crazy to me how people haven't gotten sick of this sort of washed out purple and tan look that we've been getting from all of the A Ma Maniere collaborations. In my opinion, I love them because they're different, but I know because they're so different, some people must not like them. It's probably the hype that's driving all of it, but I've got to say, I think it's a very clean looking shoe. So the upper of the A Ma Maniere 4s comes in this washed out purple nubuck, which looks very clean and also features this unfinished edge. You've got this really cool sort of metallic button detail towards the heel on the lateral side, which I think adds a nice little pop of interest. And then you've also, of course, got that quilted sock liner, which makes the shoe feel that much more premium than the materials already do. Because honestly, from what I can tell, it looks like they did genuinely use some really nice materials on this shoe. Now, one of my favorite details on the sneaker is actually the contrast that you get between the upper of the shoe and the sort of off-white or aged midsole. I've said in previous videos that I love aged midsoles, and I know it's such a stupid trend, I know it's such a dumb thing to like. Maybe I just like the tan color, I don't know, but there's something about it that just really draws me to the sneaker, and when you pair that with a sort of aged or washed out purple upper that's made of this really nice material, it's just such a sick looking shoe, and I really want to grab a pair of these, but I missed out on every single raffle. Plus, in true A Ma Maniere fashion, they did hide this quote from Michael Jordan behind the heel tab, which says, "It's not about the shoes, it's about where you're going." It's a dope shoe, and I think once again, A Ma Maniere has knocked it out of the park, and I'm definitely trying to grab a pair of these, unfortunately now, probably for resale. But hey, that pretty much wraps up the video for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will see you all in the next one.